Well, this was the scene on the A9 last Saturday, and this was the scene a short time ago on the M80. What a difference a weekend can make across Scotland. The pressure chart is almost upside down of last week, and the weather is matching that as well. Area of low pressure, unseasonably deep for the time of the year, spinning just to the north of Scotland, and we are right underneath the zone of strongest winds associated with this system. In fact, within the last hour, we've had wind gusts in excess of 150 kilometres an hour over Cairngorm, actually peaking at 154, which is 95 miles per hour over the 4,000 foot level Cairngorm plateau this afternoon. So miserable conditions. 86 mile an hour at the Tain range, or 86 kilometres per hour, which correlates to 53 miles per hour. So pretty strong winds actually associated with this system as it starts to weaken and progress eastwards to the north of the UK. But it's windy as well, even across more southern portions of the British Isles this afternoon as well. So it's windy everywhere, but it is really up across the northwest of the country that we've got some fairly nasty conditions. Indeed, heavy persistent rain has been the story across the West Highlands today as well, and as I speak, it is pouring it down here in Cumbernauld. Temperature wise, it is relatively not too bad actually. So while we've got 50 mile an hour winds in excess at Tain, we're recording a temperature of 16 degrees. It is 18 degrees at both Kinloss and Lossiemouth, as you can see here. A fresher 12 Celsius under the rain at Loch Liscarnock, and then as you head further south, where there's sunshine, temperatures responding fairly nicely indeed. 23 Celsius at Norwich, and of course we've got the bright sunny skies down here. So it is the reverse near enough of last Saturday. We had high pressure dominating Scotland with temperatures responding high teens, low 20s. It was further south, in fact, that we had suppressed temperatures, rainfall, and disappointing conditions overall. So looking at the current chart of the GFS, you can see here the remnants of Tropical Storm Alex that is impacting our weather today. It's going to be slowly weakening as it progresses eastwards, and then as we press into the new working week, we'll keep our eyes on a frontal boundary separating high pressure in the south, low pressure in the north. We could see some significant rainfall during the first half of next week, and in fact a good part of next week. Scotland is looking reasonably unsettled and also cooler. Plenty of heat down across Iberia. Temperatures for the second day in a row is touching the low 40s now in the south central portion of Spain, also known as the Oven of Spain. So temperatures are responding here, and we are going to be talking about the continuation of hot conditions across southwestern portions of Europe. Now, it is interesting as we play through the loop and extend our way in through the middle portion of next week. An area of low pressure develops just to the west of Iberia, and it is this feature that is going to allow some of that heat to transfer northward. So up until now, whether it be high pressure like last weekend or low pressure like this weekend, these weather systems are stopping the northward progress of heat from Africa, extending all the way up into the British Isles. That there is a window of opportunity during the middle and latter half of next week for that heat to get transferred to at least England and Wales, and temperatures could respond very nicely indeed. But all the while, we've got a spell of pretty heavy rainfall moving into the northwestern portion of the British Isles. How far north any type of heat gets next week remains open to question. There is still always that opportunity that the heat doesn't actually reach the UK. We've seen that already this June where the models have hinted at it a couple of times and has backed off completely. And that is still a possibility as we go into next week. But there is the chance, like I said in yesterday's video, for heat to lift all the way up into the British Isles, and we could see some nice warm temperatures indeed. Looking back at the 850 millibar temperatures here through this weekend, a lobe of cool air peeling off Greenland, rotating around the southern flank of that low, and that means we're going to see the temperatures coming down UK wide during the second half of the weekend, and in the early next week here we've got an area of actually sub-freezing temperatures at 850 that they cross over the British Isles during the day on Monday. Plenty of heat across Iberia, as you can see here, and then it's as we press through next week, that area of low pressure develops off the western portion of Iberia. We'll see that heat getting lifted northwards here, but I think it only goes as far as possibly the England-Scotland border. We've got actually an area of low pressure that seems to develop and cross the northern portion of Scotland, and it essentially keeps the heat to the south over England and Wales, and then eventually that heat will actually get kicked out to the east here. Down comes another surge of unseasonably cool conditions here, and as you can see here, the modelling is still hinting at I know this is a long way out, but the 23rd of June, the models are still hinting at high pressure back into the west, and the door opens to, believe it or not, Arctic air. Obviously, it's not going to be cold, but it is going to certainly keep the temperatures suppressed quite significantly. In fact, it could produce some unusually cool temperatures for the month of June if this was to materialise, and certainly it is, of course, a big if. But it is interesting the way this month is now progressing. There is kind of some slight hints at 2012, and we know that it was a cool and very wet summer during the 2012 period here. So we're going to certainly have to keep our eyes on things as we go forward. Looking at rainfall wise here, and there is some fairly big contrast in terms of rain as we go through next week here. If I can just try and pick up the UK chart here, this is rainfall total, and you can see here that a lot of rain, Western Highlands, that those totals continue to mount up as we press through this weekend and in the next week here. And as we progress towards the middle and second half of next week, you notice here that we have a bullseye of over 100 millimeters of rainfall through the next 7-day period, all over Skye, Lochaber, and the Torridon area, the western portion of the Scottish Highlands. We could see rainfall. In fact, this could be slightly conservative. I think we could even see 100 to 150 millimeters of rain. Now, big contrast, like I say, because look at the southeastern portion of Scotland. So down into the borders, barely any rain at all, yet we're talking about in excess of 100 millimeters over the West Highlands. Further south, down across the corridor between Bristol and London, very, very little in the way of rainfall, indeed, as you can see here. So big contrast, and this is starting to turn quite interesting as we go forward, because we are going to start to weten those soils, and there is the possibility that those wetter soils respond to the atmosphere and start to shape the month of July overall. So certainly a lot of things to look at, and I do encourage you, of course, to keep it right here on my YouTube channel. Please like, share and subscribe as always, and we will continue to watch this rather interesting, possibly somewhat disappointing summer so far. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I'll be back again hopefully again tomorrow. Bye for now.